Everybody at one point or another is going to have to ask themselves, what would you do for love? That four-letter word that all of us act irrationally over. What would you do? For the love of your partner, for the love of your kids, for the love of your friends, your family. What would you do? How important is love for you? And for a couple in New York, they had a very clear definition of what love meant for them, what they were willing to do for love. On July 1st, 2026, Midtown Manhattan came to a standstill as two daredevils scaled the Empire State Building's transmission tower. They knew this wasn't going to be easy. This wasn't going to be a simple get down on your knees, I've always loved you since the day I met you, blasity blasity bullshit. No, this was going to be intricate. It was going to be dangerous. Clinging to the narrow 1,400-foot spire without any visible safety harness or tethers, the pair unfurled a massive black banner with white lettering that read, "When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace." What would you do? What would you do for love? How much does she mean to you? How much does he mean to you? Because you can't do it alone. You can't do this type of thing alone. You can't just propose from the top of the Empire State Building. You gotta go with him. It's gotta be a couple kind of thing. And the climbers were quickly identified as Angela Nicolo, and Ivan Birkos. These are some names. A prominent Russian, that explains a lot. That explains a lot. A prominent Russian roof-topping couple who were the focus of the 2024 Netflix documentary Skywalkers, a love story. I never watched that one. I'm assuming it's a powerful love story with a love like this. With a love so fearless, so bold. Dressed in matching black outfits and initially wearing face coverings, the two bypassed security around midday. Onlookers on the public observation deck below watched them slip through a mesh gate on the 103rd floor, an area strictly reserved for mechanical and water tower maintenance. Look, it doesn't matter. They don't care about your silly little rules. It doesn't really matter what you think, society. Their love knows no bounds. And honestly, I hate to say it because for the most part, I do believe in public safety. I think that there are some laws in place that is there in the disguise of being for public safety, but it's not really. But when there are true laws in place that's supposed to keep people safe, I'm a fan. What can I say? I like them. So it's not my first instinct to automatically root for the rule breakers, for the bad guys, for the criminals. But this, how can you not? How can you not root for a story like this, a true love story like this? When the power of love beats the love of power, the world knows peace. One thing I noticed when I was looking into this, when I saw this story, one thing I noticed, not many people weren't really talking about the sign because it's a powerful message. What can I say? I I gotta root for these people. They are an example of what love could be. They are an example of the new heights that somebody is willing to take to prove their love. So without further ado, the couple of 2026, everybody.
How did these daredevils manage to slip through unnoticed
How?
and
It's
climb
it's
to the
love.
top
That's
of
how.
one of the world's most iconic skyscrapers?
Look at them.
Investigative reporter Dan Krauth continues our coverage and is here now. Dan.
Liz, right now the NYPD is reviewing surveillance video from inside the Empire State Building. The two appeared to access the spire from a hatch on the 102nd floor, one that's usually used for maintenance.
Hey.
It's the proposal seen around the world.
Oh, look at
one
that.
takes security breaches to new
Oh.
heights at one of the country's most iconic buildings.
It's quite
Look,
a
how can you
disturbing
how can
piece.
you not
Greg
root for this?
Sanfilippo is former NYPD who now works in corporate security.
And
Imagine
this is every
investigating
commercial real
this.
estate security's worst nightmare is someone getting access to the roof or ledges of their building.
I spoke with an
This?
engineer who's
This
been
is
to the
your
top of
worst
the Empire
nightmare?
State Building, work that's usually
A
only done at
proposal?
night when the antenna and the radiation emitting from it is turned off. He says the couple would have had to have made their way past the main observation deck here all the way up to the top deck that's circular and
Wow.
enclosing glass. Inside here is a locked metal door, preventing people from going up any further.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the power of love.
But I just seen them open the door and then hurry up.
One visitor tells us she witnessed the duo open the door, thought they worked there.
Along came these two people and they opened the mesh door and just went upside. So I assumed that they worked there. So nobody stopped them.
How they got the door
They was
open
in the
is one
door,
major
and
part
they
of
was
this
in love.
investigation.
They didn't just stumble upon that hatch. There was what we would call pre-observational surveillance. Someone cased the joint, if you will.
Oh Lord, they cased the joint. Old school right here. Imagine investigating this. They cased the joint. It was a proposal, and that lady, they opened the door. She knew what they were there for. She knew they didn't work there. But look, that's how a lot of us are. I said I wouldn't root for the person breaking the rules. Under very few circumstances would I be the person pointing my finger, calling out a person breaking the rules. And I feel like, especially in New York, they're known for that. Everybody knows that New York is known for this. Especially in New York, people are very happy to just walk on by. They are happy to just keep on going. And I honestly think that this is healthy. It's a healthy thing. They could have been, some terrorists or some shit like that, going up there to blow something up. Thank God it wasn't that. They were just trying to blow up social media with their love. They wanted to show everybody what love can do, where you can go. They still don't even know how they slipped past. They must have cased the joint, and yes, they did. They cased the joint. They sure did, buddy. They sure did. And this is what love does. So I think more people should be like that lady. I mean, she still wanted her 15 seconds of fame. So she did the interview. She's happy she did the interview. She's telling everybody about this interview. And that's okay. She is, live and let live. I think that might be the motto of today's episode. And honestly, it's something that we here at Get Xuded, we endorse heavily. We support it. And yeah, live and let live. She just wanted her 15 seconds of fame, but more people need to be like her. She saw them. She knew that they didn't work there. They obviously didn't work there. They had a mask. They didn't look like people that worked there. They weren't in uniform. Yes, they were matching in the way that, a masked robber with their accomplice will match. So I think she covered her ass. It was smart. I think it was obvious that she knew what was going on. Hey, look, I saw them go up there. I don't even know what accent was that? It's like Scottish or something. I don't know. I'll tell you what, whatever country she came from, they know how to mind their fucking business. All right? In New York, as much as it sucks that you basically could probably get stabbed on the street and everybody would just keep walking by, New York is known for that. So she knew which city that she was going to have to go to. I think more people need to be like that. Live and let live. Live and let love. The power of love. LOVE, that 4-letter word that people do dangerous, crazy, stupid things for. And yeah, they're going to jail. The high-altitude political statement quickly evolved into a dramatic romantic spectacle after displaying the banner for roughly 30 minutes as NYPD helicopters and drones circled overhead. So it wasn't just like, hey, we're protesting this. You guys are killing innocent people all around the globe just because, you are the strongest country in the world, blah, blah, blah. We just want an end to it. That little thing called peace that people have been wanting, that most people want. They just want peace. And hey, if we embrace the power of love, instead of loving all of this power, maybe we could know peace. Like I said, most people weren't really talking about the sign. It was more, how did they do this? This is a breach of security. This is a huge issue. They got there. What if this was a terrorist? This could be a terrorist. This is why, even though they have a completely, reasonable protesting sign. I mean, I guess you could call it a protest. How many people really protest this? Is it a protest if the majority of the country is agreeing with it? It's not really a protest. You usually have to protest when you're going against the majority or the powerful. In this case, it's only the powerful. If you ask the average everyday citizen of America, I think they would say, yeah, I think peace could be good. Anybody that is like one of these fucking neocons, these war hawks, these people that just want war after war after war, and this is exactly how we have to continue society, is to get the terrorists. And if the terrorists are on this building, I think those people might be like, nah, I think peace is peace. Do we really need peace? I think it might be overrated. Have we ever known peace? Has humanity ever known peace? Think about history. Why do you think that is? Why do you think we've never known peace? So yeah, let's go to war. We're at multiple right now. I think those people might be a little bit salty even answering this. Why is this? Is this even a question? Of course I don't want peace. Fuck peace. Why would I want peace? Let's go to Iran. Let's go to Syria. Let's go to Lebanon. Why would we want peace? I think besides those people, everybody's going to say, yeah, peace sounds like a good idea. Peace sounds like, I don't know, a world that I would want my kids and my kids' kids and all of that to grow up. And maybe life could be better for everybody. Maybe if we weren't constantly trying to take control over other nations, over their resources, trying to take control over their regime. Make sure that somebody that is on board with what's happening and all of that, making sure that somebody like that is installed. Maybe we just cut all that out. And I think that's why you can't really argue with the sign. All you can say is they're daredevils. Daredevils. They chose that on purpose. They didn't say courageous. They didn't say bold. They didn't say, oh my gosh, can you believe these people that were already known for climbing skyscrapers, apparently. Again, I've never seen it. Never heard of these Russian people. I'm a fan now. I'll tell you that much. I won't follow their story, but I'm a fan from afar. I like the concept, okay? I like the concept of their love. It makes me feel good. So they were already known for doing this. It's not like it's unheard of for people to climb skyscrapers. Can't call them an athlete. Can't call them these, I don't know, TV stars. What do you call them? These professional climbers? No, you call them daredevils. Devils. Imagine if it was the terrorists. Imagine this is a security breach. You say things like security breach and daredevils. You start saying these things. Make sure you say it 6 times on Sundays. You have to keep repeating this, and eventually people are gonna be like, oh my God, they're bad. They're bad. And they might be. I don't know. They might be. They did break rules, right? Life is black and white. There's no gray area. They did break rules. They broke protocol. You know you can't be up there. You cased the joint. You cased it. The romantic interlude was short-lived. Members of the NYPD's elite emergency services unit scaled the tower's internal ladders. They're daredevils. Those are some daredevils. And I know that was sarcasm. I'm sorry. I apologize for my sarcastic tone. I'm not one of those people that say, fuck the police. I did when I was younger. Got into some trouble. Nigga was just trying to smoke weed. Don't understand the issue. It is just weed. But wrong state. I understand. Rule breaker. Devil. Daredevil. Devil. But I get it. They serve a purpose. Abolish the police. Shut up. Until something happened to you. So I get it. It's an elite team. But how come when they do it, it's courageous? But when the people that are just saying, hey, let's just bomb stuff, it's not. I'm just saying, I'm trying to look at the words that people use to characterize, to define the different acts of people. And I'm not saying I disagree, by the way. That's not what I was saying. I wasn't saying that they weren't courageous. I wasn't saying that at all. I'm just saying that you didn't say you got a team of daredevils on the NYPD's elite team or whatever. No, you got people that they knew exactly what they had to do. They did their job. all of that good shit. And yeah, it's just kind of, it's like that thing where, have you ever seen a situation where you'll see one story where it's usually, let's be real, it's usually like a white teen compared to a black teen. You'll see, let's say they both done some sort of crime. With the white teen, it's like young student of, you know what I mean? It'll be something like that where it's like, oh, it's a young student accidentally did this, and this is how his life got turned upside down. And then for the black teen, it's usually something like, we have a young gang member with tattoos all over, known for drug abuse, and it's some shit like that. I feel like, let's just call it what it is. It was, they're some brave people, all of them. NYPD's elite team that decided to climb that shit, and the people that decided to climb up for the proposal. That's two types of brave. You got one type of brave where it's your job. You got to do it. This pays the bills. This is how you feed your family. And you're one of the elite. Shit, your team says elite. You're one of the elite. But you got the renegade. You got the couple that says, we're a different type of brave. We know that we're going to be looked at as crazy, as devils, as daredevils. And we do it for love. I don't know. I can't help but root for them. It feels like life is turning into a movie. It doesn't feel real. Did you ever, when did things like this happen? For a proposal? And not just that, you know what, while we're here, two birds, one stone, let's go ahead and roll out a little sign. Not to say down with the fascists or, fuck Trump or anything that's violent like that. We're going to promote peace. What can you say? What can you say? So they did get charged. They ended up going to jail. And they said apparently an officer greeted the pair landing saying, "Hey, you can't be up here," which the voice replied, "We are engaged." I can't help but root for these motherfuckers. May someone love me as much as Nicolo and Birkos love each other. May someone love my kids one day that much. Maybe they don't go to these extremes, these heights, these measures. Maybe they show it in a different way, but I don't know. Maybe you have to have these grand gestures. And of course, they put it all over social media. Of course, this wasn't something just between them. They knew this would be talked about. And forever, they would be known as the couple of the Empire State Building, the ultimate proposal, the ultimate act of love. We are engaged. That might be the realest response. You can't be up here. Sir, ma'am, you can't be up here. This is a restricted area. You're breaking the rules. We're engaged. It's like the 90s movie when they would just like run through the airport terminal or some shit like that. And obviously this was before 9/11, before, TSA was crazy and shit like that. But they would just like run through. And of course there's all these protocols. You got to get a ticket and all that shit. Nah, just run. Why? I'm in love. I gotta get to her. There's this girl and I didn't tell her how I feel. And they let you pass because fuck. It's love. It's love. It's a powerful thing. That's all I'm going to say. It's a powerful, powerful thing. So congrats to the newlywed. And on a darker turn, in darker news, those poor motherfuckers that just have to read shit. In another news, they have to make sure their tones go up and down with the story. Because you can't just be like, in darker news, fuck, you fucked it up. 16 children were saved in Ohio after being in a horrible, horrible situation. And it is horrible. I'm not trying to make light of this. I know it sounds like I'm just brushing this off. This is 16 children. That's 14 more children than I have. I couldn't conceive of the idea of conceiving. Or I guess not me personally, because I'm a guy. And guys can't do that. We'll bring that up later. Of conceiving that many children. 16 kids? Good Lord, have mercy. But this was in Ohio. Apparently, there was a search warrant that came out. Police, they had a knock at the door. Hey, we got a search warrant. We're coming in. And they didn't realize that they would find some horrendous shit. Anytime you feel like you see the other side of whatever you hate, whether you are someone on the left that hates the right, someone on the right that hates the left, if you are somebody that is a certain type of religion that hates another type of religion, whatever your beef is, you're a certain race that hates another race, whatever, I don't care. I feel like you're stupid, but I'm not trying to judge. Whatever that is, however much you feel like this person is so evil, oh, Donald Trump is ruining the democracy or whatever. You know what I mean? Like whatever it is. I'm using politics because it's so easy. People get so heated about the other side. It's something where you see these tribal wars where the other side is such an existential risk to everything. Everybody's Hitler. Everybody is the end of humanity. Everybody is evil. So anytime you look at the other side and you feel like, I can't believe that there are people out there like that. They're just so evil. Right-wingers, left-wingers, progressives, communists, you know what I mean, socialists. These Democrats are getting taken over by the socialists. What's going to happen if the DSA takes over the whole nation and we don't, whatever. Shut up. You think that's evil? I will show you evil. Sometimes we need to be reminded.
Today, 16 children ranging from an infant to a teenager were rescued from a small home in Ohio in deplorable conditions. Officials say the children lived in a 12 by 12 area for 1 year. The oldest child was 18 and unable to spell her name.
Jesus.
Other children reportedly couldn't speak. The 4 adults at the home at the time of discovery are
What
under
the
arrest.
fuck?
They were the grandparents and parents of the children. They are
Yo,
facing 16
why the
criminal
grandpa
charges,
look like that?
including endangering children. They all pleaded not guilty.
Most of our livestock was kept in better conditions than the children. It was extremely high presence, I'm sure, of bacterial and human feces. It was just a disgusting scene.
Jesus Christ. See, and I usually, when I'm prepping for this show, to be real, I go past these type of stories. Unfortunately, it's not super uncommon. It's not like these aren't seen. If you were looking for this, you're going to be able to see it. We all know that. Unfortunately, it's common knowledge that shit like this happens. And yet we feel like we can look at the other side of somebody's beliefs, ideas. Just because somebody has a different ideology than you look at them like some sort of, like I said, some sort of Hitlerian creature, not even human. Somebody that only knows evil, that obviously because they don't agree with you, they must be evil. They must be. Because anybody that believes the opposite of what you believe, surely that's a bad guy. That's a bad person. 16 kids in a 12 by 12 room. They had an 18-year-old girl there that couldn't even write. Kids that couldn't even, I said people, I'm sorry, children, kids, little kids, all the way down to an infant. You had like almost grown teenagers that can't say their names, down to an infant. That's evil. That's evil. And what's crazy is these are the type of stories that don't get talked about, that don't get debated on. How do we fix this? How do we get this done? And yeah, I know, like a lot of times it's like nothing but jokes on this show and shit like that. But sometimes I just want to talk about some real shit. Sometimes I just want to say we need to wake the fuck up. Wake up! Wake up! It's not just America. Obviously, clearly, look around. Look around. It's like all of the Western societies starting to crumble, starting to feel like the way things are is just the way of life. Like we didn't suffer and deal with situations like this for hundreds, thousands of years. This was most of our history as people. We're finally, and I mean finally, obviously this was a few people ago, but society is pretty new. Look at, since we've been around, You know what I mean? Like, if you look at it like that, polite society is like a little baby. Stories like this, they happen all the time. Thank God. And what troubled me almost as much as these kids living in that field, that grandparent, what was up with bruh's eyes? They was like, he had like one right here and one right here, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody. I get it. Everybody's born the way they're born. Live and let live. I told you. That's the thing. Live and let live. If you want to live like a fucking frog muppet, cool. But when you start endangering 16 kids, you got your kids living there. It's like they're all in cahoots. Just 4 adults, and they all pled not guilty. Sir, ma'am, creature over there with the eye. I think you know you're guilty. We all know you're guilty. You can see the feces on the wall. The writing is on the wall, guys. And the writing is in shit, and it just says guilty. I know you can't see from this perspective, but I just wrote out the first few letters of guilty. That's what's on the wall. You look up guilty, you look up child endangerment, you look up all the different things they're being charged with, and you're going to see a picture of that frog muppet guy, the grandparent, and the other 3. But I'm going to be honest, if you're anything like me, your eyes are going to be focused on the grandpa. That was a sight. That was a sight. So real evil exists. Real creatures exist, okay? We just saw one. And I would feel bad, but look what he did to his grandkids. Fuck that guy. Right? It's not mean. I'm standing up to that thing. God, you gotta laugh. You gotta laugh in these times. And see, now you understand why I was rooting for the couple that climbed to the top of the Empire State Building for a proposal. Talking about we need to know more about the power of love instead of loving power. And that's how the world will know peace. I think it's hard not to root for people like that when you got stories like this. When you got stories like this, so inhuman that it almost feels like we are just watching a movie. And it's not. And maybe it's because we were never supposed to just be open. I shouldn't know what's happening in Ohio like that, you know? And I get it. It's not like, oh, just the internet made it where it's like they had cable news and shit like that. So even my parents went on the fucking different news stations. They got to hear what was happening states over. But all I'm saying is that's still a very new invention. And looking at the entire human history, you're not supposed to know what's happening towns over. I'm not supposed to know how many fucking people are getting bombed in Gaza and Lebanon and what we're doing in Iran and all of these things. And I shouldn't know about earthquakes in Venezuela. And I'm not saying I don't want to know. I'm not saying people don't want to know. I'm not saying I think we should go back, because I enjoy it. I enjoy this information age that we're in. But I can still realistically look at the situation and say, hey, again, human history is human history. Biology is biology. Again, we're going to get to that one later. This isn't how we were evolved. We weren't evolved to know this. They even say something like you're only supposed to keep up with like 100 people or some shit like that. Like your little tribe, your little area. And clearly that has increased. Clearly the relationship number has increased while the strength of the relationships themselves decrease. It's like you have more in quantity but less in quality. And yeah, I'm just saying we're not built for that, is my point. We're not built for that. So yeah, I usually skip these type of things. I usually don't want to include them. It's so dark, you know. It's so dark. And maybe, to be honest, if I'm gonna be real with the type of person I am, sometimes I just want to put my fucking head in the sand. I just wanna escape. Just nope, la 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 la. I can't hear you. I can't see it. Even things like an example, the Charlie Kirk assassination. I never actually watched the video. I just didn't. I believed him. You know, there's just it's things like that where it's like I don't want to see it. I'd rather not. It's like, damn, what happened? It's like, yeah, and then the video was in the HD and you could see all of it. It's like, oh, um, what's crazy is, you know, I'll go and watch like a horror movie, action movie, thriller movie. It'll have all of these things. So it's not like we as a culture haven't been programmed and readied for this eventuality. You know, how many horror movies do you have to see growing up until you are desensitized to all of this and you're fine? I would like to think that I would be fine. Like if I saw some shit like that happen right in front of me. I'm not saying it's a good thing, but if I had to guess, I feel like a lot of people would be fine. Not because like we're a whole bunch of sociopaths that are walking around here, which let's be real, there are a lot of them out there that are just walking around, but I think the average everyday person can still feel okay after seeing some shit like that. And kind of just looking at it like, oh, just because we have seen them in so many movies and shows and everything. Desensitized. We have grown accustomed to seeing stuff like that. And even though it wasn't real, even though we knew on some level that, oh, this is just Hollywood doing Hollywood effects, and, you know, it's movie magic and shit like that. Well, it became more and more real. It became a lot less fake. Don't believe me, go back and look at an old movie from like 40, 50 years ago. In fact, you could watch a movie from every single decade and just look at the progression. It looks a lot less fake. So when real shit happens, I feel like, yeah, I think a lot of people would just be like, damn. And yeah, it might be a lot to process. They might need to go talk to their therapist or whatever. Not disparaging therapy or whatever. So fucking sensitive. I hope you didn't get offended by that. You might need to go talk to your therapist about your sensitivity problem. But yeah, they might need to be like, they would talk about it. But I think it would be more like the talk of the town. Can you believe? Oh yeah, this happened right in front of me. I was right there. Yeah, so it's not because I think I'm gonna freak out. I'm gonna wig out if I see these things. It's just, yeah, you don't want to. I guess it is almost human nature to just, the ugliest parts of the world, you just ignore it. And then again, we find these false enemies that are on the opposite side of whatever idea you have that you cling to, that you feel like is your personhood and everything that you stand for. And you call them an enemy. You call them a bad guy. When I see shit like this, you know? And there's obviously levels. You don't have to do some crazy, horrendous shit to be a bad person, but I think it's good to keep a realistic vision of what real evil is, of what real bad is. It's not the devils that climb up on skyscrapers, which obviously, you know, you're gonna have to do some time. You did break some rules, whatever. But you can't call that a bad guy. You know what I mean? So on to the last segment, the last story, the one that I couldn't wait to talk about. I just couldn't wait. Transgender athletes being banned from sports. Supreme Court upholds state bans. Basically, states get to decide whether or not they want to let transgender athletes compete. And let's go ahead and clarify. Compete with the opposite of their biological gender. So you have a trans girl wanting to, you know, compete with the girls instead of with the boys. So let's hear a little bit about this new Supreme Court decision.
At the Supreme Court, the High Court has ruled that states do in fact have the authority to ban transgender athletes from taking part in girls' and women's school and college sports. This involves two separate cases, both brought by transgender women. It is expected to have wide-ranging implications. Let us bring in our senior legal correspondent, Laura Jarrett. See that you have been sifting through the decision and the dissent for some time now. Top lines, what does this mean?
The top line here, Craig, is that all of the states, 27 in fact states that have tried to enact these types of bans, trying to make sure that girls' sports teams do not include transgender women and girls, both at the college level all the way down to lower school. Those bans can now stand. As you mentioned, Craig, this...
All right, I'm gonna pause it there, because let's go ahead and just put it out there. 27 states, obviously not all of them, but more than half of the states. I just be wanting to talk to these people. I don't want to, like I was saying earlier, I'm not one of those people I'm gonna attack you. Oh, you have the opposite idea. I genuinely have never met anybody that's just like, yes, trans women should be competing with women. I was about to be like biological and do all that fucking dance. Fuck that. We're not doing that shit today. Okay? Live and let live. I told you. Disclaimer, disclaimer, disclaimer. That is the theme of the episode. Live and let live. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I really don't. Live and let live. Like I said, if you want to do something, cool. When you start to infringe on somebody else's rights, when you start to mess up somebody else's rights and life and all of that shit, that's obviously when laws need to step in. Live and let live, but don't go murder. Live and let live, but don't go rob somebody. Live and let live, but, maybe you should compete with your gender. I'm just saying. So saying that 27 states have already filed something like this, the fact that these other couple states, and forgive me, I forget which ones it is. I think it's like Pennsylvania or some shit. It's not my state. I live in Georgia. So it's not mine. But I know we would be one of them. We would be one of them because we're like below the Bible Belt, and you know how they are down here. So 2 of these states finally got it passed, and she's basically saying the other states that have tried this in the past, this is going to set the precedence going forward. Like, perfect, we get to decide, and they're going to ban it. And let's be clear, they are focusing more on girls sports because it's not really one of those things where it's kind of always been the argument. It's kind of always been the thing. It's really never been about the trans men going into the men's restroom. It's never been about that. It's never been about trans men going into men's sports. However, I feel like if we're going to support something like this, it should be both ways. Sorry if you're a trans man and you identify as a boy, but you're born a girl, you got to compete with the girls or do no sports. I don't know. These stories, as we hear, as it's clear to everyone, are rare. It's not like you have a whole bunch of tranny kids running around, a whole bunch of trans athletes trying to compete. This isn't something that is like a mass issue. But it is something that needs to be addressed. What do we do? I felt like it was simple. I felt like this was something that was cut and dry. You have some puppies, you have any animal, and you are breeding, like let's say you're breeding some puppies. When you go to check the gender, what do? You check the gender. It's not something like, what should the gender be? So again, live and let live. I personally don't care. People that get so wrapped up in transgender people, unless it is a specific case like this, a specific situation where, again, you're infringing on somebody else's rights. In this case, women athletes. When you're infringing on somebody else's rights, that's when you can speak up, but then you're speaking up about that certain issue. It's the same thing that the problem people have that are defending Israel with all of this. So you can't critique Israel without being called an anti-Semitic person, without being some sort of devout worshiper of Adolf Hitler himself. It's that same thing. You can't critique anything about transgenderism without being labeled a transgenderist? I don't even know what it is. A hater of transgender people. I don't know. A bigot. A bitch. I don't fucking know. I don't know. But there's a clear difference. You know, there is a clear difference. I think that common sense got lost somewhere down the line. But I'm happy that it seems to be making its way back to society.
Involves 2 different states, West Virginia and Idaho, but the
not
implications are
Pennsylvania.
nationwide and far-reaching. The states here said that they had tried to enact these types of bans to protect women's sports, to keep women and girls safe, and also to ensure competition for women and girls sports. And today, the High Court, in a divided opinion, saying states can, in fact, do that without violating the Constitution, without violating federal law. They say here in part, Craig, in the majority opinion, separate sports teams for biological males and biological females are reasonable, given the inherent physical differences between the sexes. Allowing only biological females to play on women's and girls' sports teams can reduce the risk of physical injury and ensure fair competition. The court going on to say what's more, forcing women and girls to play against biological males can deter some women and girls who would otherwise participate in sports from doing so. They go on to explain further that the Equal Protection Clause allows...
Oh, my God. I can't even... It's like she's like saying, you know, if 1 + 1 were added together, it would equal 2. And A, B, and C are the first 3 letters of the alphabet. It's like, what? Yeah. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? There's no way. I said, I just want to talk to somebody. I just want to talk to somebody. Let me hear you. Let me have a conversation with you. Because I feel like one of 2 things are going to happen. One, I'm going to realize that, yeah, you have a different belief system in how the world works. You have a different base assumption than I have. I guess that could be one route, but the more likely route, I feel like, is we're just going to have a calm, civil conversation. I promise I'll be civil. I'm not going to attack you. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm not going to sit here and act like you're an enemy or evil. We saw evil, real evil. I'm not going to act like you're evil just because you believe in something that I don't. If we can start from the presumption that the other person has good intentions, then I think that it can lead to a healthy outcome. Obviously, if you find out, like I said, one, where somebody doesn't have the best of intentions, they either are ignoring the facts or they're just ignorant to them, and they just want to spout their narrative. That's a whole nother can of worms, like the Faucis of the world. Like he knew that's evil, you know, saying something that you believed it was true or whatever the fuck. Whatever, that guy. That's the perfect representation, the perfect example of what I'm talking about here. I think I just want to talk to you. I think we would be able to have some understandings. Hey, everybody deserves to be treated as fairly as possible, right? Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that we need to tip these scales and change things just because we don't deem something to be fair. I'm looking at you, DEI programs. I think that is not fair. The fact that, you know, you could be a high achieving Asian student and have issues getting into a university just because you are among a whole sea of other high achieving Asians, just because it's kind of in their culture. And I'm not saying that is like like a racism thing. It's like statistically, they constantly are hitting above their weight class. Speaking of weight classes, why do you think those exist? Why do you think weight classes exist? It's for the fairness. Now, obviously, somebody could be born stronger, but if they're about the same weight as you, let's say it's boxing or MMA, then it's pretty fair. And ignoring the biological differences between men and women, I just don't understand why it's still a debate, a story. We can't still be talking about that. I thought this couldn't be something that was still debated, that this wasn't real. This wasn't something that people actually had issues with anymore. Again, if I talk to somebody like that, it's like, if everybody should be treated fairly, do you think that it's fair for, just because you're transgender, you should be able to have an advantage over a biological girl, biologically born or whatever the fuck. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. Let's not even say like you're a whole nother thing. It's transgenders. Cool. You're a transgender girl. Let's not say you're not a girl though. You're a transgender girl. You're a boy that took different hormones and stuff like that. You blocked whatever puberty blockers and whatever you decided to do. Whatever your journey was. That's not what a woman is. Isn't it crazy that we've even had to define that? Like I said, it's 1 + 1. If you add them together, it's 2. It's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? It's very clear. If you have two men and one has naturally higher testosterone levels than the other, but they're both biological men, you're not going to be like, well, that's more of a man than that one. No, it's like, that's a man. There's very few things that's like black and white. But this is one of them. And I'm not saying it's always. Don't you have like hermaphrodites or some shit like that? What are they? They don't even say. They just say hermaphrodites. You're neither. We're both. I don't know. That's a true transgender. That's a true like I could be either. I could be either. Which one will I be? I don't know how that works. Maybe I shouldn't be speaking out of turn about hermaphrodites. All I know is those type of births are very, 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 very rare. It's not like, again, you're running around seeing hermaphrodites, and even so, it's not like, hey, what you got under there? Let me see that vaginas. No, you're not saying that. But I feel like this has to be a dying argument. I felt like that. But then prepping for the show, I was determined. It took about like 10 seconds, but I was determined to find somebody that had an issue with this. That was just like, no, a transgender boy turned to girl, I don't care where they were in their journey, should be allowed to compete. And I'm talking about straight competition. So I finally found somebody. Without further ado, let's see what this woman has to say.
Joining us now to discuss this is Camilla B. Taylor, the Deputy Legal Director for Litigation at Lambda Legal. She argued on behalf of Becky Pepper Jackson, the plaintiff in the West Virginia case. Camilla,
so
good morning and welcome. Give us your reaction, your takeaways from this ruling, and if you've spoken with Becky since, how they might feel.
Well, thank you very much for having me. And this is a very disappointing decision for the handful of transgender young people who enjoy playing sports on teams with their friends in school. Becky Pepper Jackson is a very bubbly, blonde, happy young person in West Virginia. She's, in fact, the only trans young person who plays sports in West Virginia, to the knowledge of anyone in the case, including the state. And she enjoyed playing discus with her friends.
Okay, before she continues talking about the discus and the sports and the play, she just wants to play, and it's Becky. Think about Becky. All due respect to Becky, I don't fucking care. She just wanted to play in sports. Is there not a men's discus team? What are we talking about? I don't think, because that would be wrong too. I would still be that same person talking about this shit if they're saying, yeah, states decided to ban transgender athletes, period. You're not allowed. They're just saying, hey, you're not allowed to, even though you go by Becky now, even though you claim, you identify or whatever, you've decided to be a girl. Reality's reality. Reality is undefeated against everybody. You can have all of these ideas in your head about what you think life is, but reality is still reality. And we're all battling with that. We all see things the way we see things. But Jesus Christ, I think it would be wrong. Just to repeat it, I think it would be wrong if they said transgender athletes weren't allowed to compete, period. Like, sorry, you decided to go through this transition as a child. Okay, side-eyeing look at the parents, whatever. Live and let live. You don't get to compete with the girls, but you still get to compete. You get to compete with the boys. And what would be the issue with that? What, you think they would make fun of you or something like that? leave it all out on the field. That's like the nerd trying out for the football team or some shit like that. It's like, okay, it's all fun and games until I start winning games. You feel me? It's just like, and I'm sorry. I know we are inclined, because things have been so easy for people for so long, that even our poorest of people have it better than the people that live thousands and thousands of years ago. Now we feel like everybody needs to be helped up. We need to make sure we're looking out for everybody. And again, reality is undefeated. Nature is nature. So if the nerd was supposed to try out for the football team, and the nerd never actually got good, and they just got bullied, and they ended up quitting the football team, and they started the debate club, and actually, guess what? They got really good at debate, and they went on to, become rich and famous by being some famous commentator or debater. I don't fucking know. This hypothetical scenario is getting away from me. This is your journey. It's your journey. Guess what? It's nature. Hey, you got bullied out of it, because then there's some people it's like, bro, you trying to bully me? You trying to like punk my ass or some shit? You think what? And then they practice harder, and then they show up. They become undeniable. It all depends on your personality. I'm not gonna sit here and say like, oh, people, these newer generations, they're so weak and feeble. That's not my point at all. I'm saying that this has always been a thing. There's people that they go through the ringer and they get burnt out. There's people that go through the ringer and they come out on top. It's always been a thing. People, no matter what you look at, no matter what metric you want to look at, there's people who are going to be better than other people. Some people are better at basketball than other people. Some people are better swimmers than other people. Now, I don't know the exact sciences behind like what differences between a male and a female. I've heard it before. I'm gonna be real. I didn't commit it to memory. I've heard it multiple times actually, when this was a bigger thing. Saying like the way that we like see like spatial see, like look at me trying to to explain this shit. But that's where we come down to. You have to sit here and break it down. Well, there's like no, I don't know. But at the same time, I'm just putting it out there. Like, I did see, when I was in high school, I did wrestling for 2 years. I saw female wrestlers, not a trans woman or whatever whatever. I don't even know. Like, not a guy trying. Yeah, it wasn't that. It wasn't that shit. Shit get me confused. Fuck. It was an actual female, born female, and was wrestling. Matter of fact, ended up beating the nigga that she was wrestling. And we thought it was cool as hell. We wasn't sitting there, so it's like, isn't that kind of hypocrisy though? But I guess it feels better when it's a David and Goliath type of situation. And I'm gonna be honest, she won out of technique. He was literally his entire, and that's what we were talking shit the whole time. His entire strategy as a wrestler was to just manhandle her, was to just use his body against her, his strength. And again, wrestling, just like boxing, just like MMA, they are in weight classes. They are very, very strict. And it's not like 20, 30 pounds difference. It's it's like every 10 pounds. It was like 145, 155, 160. It was some shit like that. It was like a whole bunch of different weight classes, is what I'm trying to say. They were about the same size. And he was able to use his strength against her. She was able to use her technique against him. Is that an argument for or against trans athletes participating? Whatever. I don't know. I'm just telling you what I saw. And I remember that, because before your team goes up, it was like one of those competition things where like all of my school's team, we were just sitting in the bleachers together. So we're just like all talking shit, watching this other school go. It's like, damn, bro, he really getting, you know what I'm saying? He really getting bodied out there. It's like, if he wasn't stronger, it's like you could tell. And clearly, it's not like I videotaped it or something like that. My memory of it isn't perfect. It is fuzzy. But I remember us saying that. So yeah, I don't know if that helps or hurts my stance on trans athletes. But I guess it's just like me noting because I'm not on the team. So it's just me noting. It's just me noticing that it didn't even cross my mind. The only thing that honestly crossed my mind there was just like, damn, that's kind of like, this might be like dirty or vulgar or whatever, but it's like, it's real. It's real shit, especially we teenagers. You know what I mean? Like, this is like junior and senior year. My first thought was, damn, what if bruh gets a boner? What if he gets hard while he's sitting here trying to wrestle? You feel me? And it's a lose-lose. It's a lose-lose. It's not like you could win and be like, yeah, bro, you see what I just did? Got her. No. And if you lose, like he did, it's kind of just one of those, like, yeah, you got beat. You got beat by a girl. And I'm not saying that is a bad thing. It's kind of like one of those, anything that you could do, she could do too. So yeah, it's a thinker, man. It's a thinker. But to say that there was no strength advantage that he had would be wrong. But it was kind of like that same story. You got the nerd. Again, we're taking genders out of it. You got the nerd, they show up for football. The fuck you doing here, loser? You got the typical jock, bully, asshole. Probably has, brothers, sisters for parents. Like, they're brothers and sisters. He's inbred. You get what I'm saying? Inbred, baby. Never mind. An asshole. And he looks at the nerd and he said, what are you doing here? Think you can hang with us? But the nerd's kind of like one of those like cliche, like where it's like a sexy librarian where she takes the hair down. It's like, oh, I never saw her. It's so beautiful just because she had her hair up and glasses on. The nerd's like fit as fuck underneath his shirts. He just like wears really baggy clothes just because, he isn't from the richest family. He gets a lot of hand-me-downs from his older brothers. And yeah, he gets picked on. He doesn't care. He doesn't work on his body because he wants to show off. Like fucking Trent over here. Fucking bully. Inbred bully. No, he does it because it helps him deal with life. Deal with all the bullies. All whatever. He just likes to work out. They didn't know. So this nerd knows everything about the sport. Knows the techniques. Not only gets on the team, he's on varsity. And you know what? Just to make the story even cooler, he is a freshman on varsity. Take that, Trent, you inbred bitch. I'm on varsity now. Who's blocking for who now? And there's some hazing and shit like that. But guess what? When you're undeniable, nobody could say shit. So this nerd in this hypothetical fake story just kept trying, kept working until they were undeniable. That's how I feel about that girl on the wrestling team. It's like, yeah, he had strength over her. When I was doing wrestling, there's plenty of people that were stronger than me, but they relied on their strength. So it's like anything where it could be used against you. Like, you're strong, but you're not fast. Or you're fast, but you're not smart. You feel me? Like you can use your advantages against their weaknesses, so on and so forth. So I don't know. Maybe that's why we're okay. You got a David and Goliath situation. Hey, if she wins, she wins. She wants to step up. Why not? It'd be kind of sexist if we didn't wrestle her. Again, my first thought was like, damn, if I was wrestling a nigga, I wouldn't be sitting here thinking about like where I'm touching and shit like that. You know what I mean? It's just like, let's go, bro. Like, fuck this motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's more like male testosterone and like I'm gonna win in competition. I think it might be maybe that's what she did. Maybe that's how she got in people's heads. Like, there you go. Now, when you go to touch my stomach, because one of the starting things is you have to like hold their elbow and hold like right on their stomach. It's kind of weird. It actually sounds pretty fucking gay if you just like describe that shit. So there's a sport and you're in these tights and you come up and you're behind them and you come. But damn, you do it to a girl, and what was once just like, all right, we about to fucking go. Like again, male testosterone. You're a teenager. You just want to fucking, you know what I mean? You just want to compete. Now it's just like, oh, fuck, what do I touch? And I hope I'm not being weird. And the Me Too movement and all of these things. I don't know. So maybe there could be an argument for both sides. It's like, hey, let's just stick with our genders. And maybe that's where it all started. And they said with injuries, with unfair advantages. So it's not just about being unfair. It's like, what if you injure them? And even if this could happen with a biological woman and a biological woman, can I just say two women? I'm just gonna start doing that. I'm sorry. I'm so fucking tired of saying biological before male or women. I'm so fucking sick of it. It's so stupid. It's so stupid. We're just gonna say transgender man or woman for the other ones. So you got two women. If they are going at it in whatever sport and one of them gets injured, it's like, damn, it happens. Like, you get injured. It's like it's part of the game. It's fine. You feel me? But if one of them is a trans woman and a woman, and then that woman gets injured, it's just not a good look. Even if it was happenstance, it's just not a good look, because we do, like, let's be real. Like, in fact, there are so many couples I see out there where a dude is basically the same size as his girl. And honestly, like, I think I only got like 40 pounds on my girl. You feel me? So it's just like, I think putting the size out of it, we all know. It's just like, yeah, like I'm stronger than you. It's not one of those things where it's like yeah, let's arm wrestle, babe. I think because you feel me? I don't know. Like I said, I've seen couples where it's just like, bro might even be smaller than this chick. Or you know what? Let's just say let's say you got the cliche tall skinny dude with a big old BBW. You telling me she's stronger because she's bigger? I mean, them legs do gotta carry that weight, but you telling me she can squat more, my nigga? You feel me? It's just, sometimes I feel like common sense has been lost on us. So I needed that case in Ohio to show me what real evil is. I needed this lawyer who's defending this, like, going against this state ban or whatever. I needed to see her, to see, like, that you're real. You're a real thing. And it makes me a little bit suspicious, a little bit skeptical when they get paid for it. You're a lawyer. It's in your best interest to continue more cases like this, to take on cases like this. Without a transgender, if everybody's just like, you know what, actually it does make sense. Everybody just goes to their biological, sex. It's okay. It's okay. If you're a trans woman, unfortunately, I get it. You're Becky, you're a girl or whatever. That's cool. We're not going to have any hazing, anything like that. Those are already rules. So if somebody starts to haze you because of this, you let us know. Discrimination, anybody like that, they'll be off the team. This is zero tolerance. This is me if I was the coach. But yeah, you're going to have to come play with the boys. They're not going to treat you different. And if they do, again, you come to me. You're welcome on this team. All I ask is, just like everybody else, you show up and you show out. Because just like everybody else, you could not make the team. You could not make the cut. We are here on a merit basis. I'm only bringing on the best of this bunch. If that's you, great. I genuinely don't care what you want your name to be. I genuinely don't care what you want to be referred to as. But I'm going to be honest, I don't refer to any of these as, hey, you're a young boy, Matthew, over here. Like, no, I say, hey, what's up, Matthew? You feel me? Like, nobody's really looking, they're not characterizing people outwardly by their gender. But anyways, I'm sorry. This person needs to continue making her case.
Our high school team, track team. And she's, of course, very disappointed, but she's glad that she took on this fight, not only on her own behalf, but on behalf of transgender young people across the country who've been targeted in really mean-spirited, nasty bills across the country, and now from the federal government as well, who try to deny that trans young people exist and paint them as threats, even though they are harming no one by participating in these teams.
I don't know the case. Just pausing there. I don't know the case she's specifically talking about, but who's denying that trans kids exist or trans people exist? Who's denying that? I don't think that this has been a denial of, like, the existence. That's why it's like, this is why it feels, it's like the same fucking playbook. Am I tripping? Am I in a fucking, what are those, what's that old show where it's like black and white, like the Twilight Zone? Am I in a Twilight Zone episode? Is this an episode of Black Mirror, bro? Is that what's going on? Am I being fucking punked? because she's using the same argument that people that support Israel, like the same one. They're just denying the existence. They just want to exist. Like anything against it is obviously, it's not homophobic, transphobic. That's what it is. Couldn't think of it earlier. It's transphobia, transphobic. It's just you're scared, you hate. It's hatred. And when she said there's been mean-spirited attacks, I believe her. I believe her. People are really mean about everything. Not just trans, but you could be gay, you could be black, you could be white, you could be whatever. I bet if you ask a German person, how many times somebody just casually, like a friend or something, has made some sort of joke as if they are somehow related to the atrocities performed by Hitler and the Nazis, just for being German. You feel me? Like that. And my point by saying that is you can literally find anything. People will be mean about anything. And it's also just one of those things. Now what? So what? Not like it doesn't matter, but let's move on. You know, it's just something that I teach my kids. As you know, you teach small little kids that. Like, oh, like this person thinks this. It's like, okay, well, why does that matter to you? Well, just because I'm not that, and this is okay. Well, they're entitled to their opinion, and that's all right. You're not going to be able to change it. You will go crazy trying to change their mind. You'd be better off accepting that other people live in a different way than you, and when they see you living in a different way, it angers them. It makes them confused why you're not living the way that they prefer to. And then some people, they don't have the emotional maturity, I guess. They don't have the ability to see from other points of views enough, where they look at that as an attack, as you're evil, like I was saying earlier, completely disregarding the real evil in the world. So I believe her, that she's probably getting attacks about this, that she's probably had attacks, just like I've had racist shit talked about to me even when I was a kid. Oh my God. And I'm still fucking here. I'm still here. You know, and I'm not excusing it, obviously. It's like, you're saying racism is okay? Shut the fuck up. Shut up. No, I'm not saying it's okay. But what did you expect when you turned your little boy into a girl? And when I say you turned, obviously, Becky here, all due respect, Becky here clearly also wanted this. But it wasn't something that live and let live. I don't give a fuck. It wasn't something that she was able to do until she was 18. Her parents let this happen. What did you expect was going to happen? You feel me? It's just like you were liable to get picked on at school, even if like there's like nothing to be picked on. You feel me? Like I don't know. It's one of those things that it's just a rite of passage. It's bound to happen. If not now, it'll be later. And if not now, later, if you're not equipped with the ability to just continue living life and not turning it into some big, huge fight, not saying that that's the case here. This is obviously a different thing. It's not the same thing. But without turning it into some big fight, well, later when it happens, you just won't be equipped to handle it. It'll be too much. It'll be overwhelming. Like, oh my gosh, it'll be a complete attack on you as an individual. You won't be able to handle it. I think using the fact that people are transphobic, using the hate in other people's heart to give fuel to the reasoning behind having these crazy ass laws like trans women in women's sports, it's crazy. And yes, these cases, this is the only athlete in the entire state. Well, cool. Let's change everything for you. The fact that they even had to do this for you because you just had to be on the girls' team, right? Everybody has to conform to you. It's the same thing. The same thing that you're like, oh, these transphobics, they think that I'm not allowed to exist. And because I am the way I am, they think that I should just be how God made me and all that. That's them putting their lifestyle, the way that they prefer people live their life. They're putting that on you. Can you not see that you're doing the same thing? And there is a balance between, look, I'm just asking for my rights, and you wanting people to go completely out of the way. And by you, I don't mean this child, obviously. This is just a kid. And that's why it's just like anybody that attacks this little kid, again, remember, it's a little kid. You know, I honestly, that's the only thing that makes me side-eye. Earlier, I made a comment towards the parents about side-eyeing the fact that they let this happen. I just don't agree. I don't agree. Live and let live. It's your parents. It's your kids, rather. I think it's crazy, but if it comes to people like Becky's parents being able to make the decision, and the state, the government being able to make the decision on whether or not Becky can, become a transgender, I think that's a clearer choice. I think the parents should. Just like I think the parents should have the authority with most things. Clearly, there's laws against any child abuse, child neglect, situations like in Ohio we talked about earlier. There's already laws against that. There's already laws in place for that. So, I don't know. It's the same. I guess it's the same concept where live and let live. Why shouldn't kids be allowed to have a tattoo? Well, in Florida, you could be like 16 or some shit and get one with your parents' consent. So, it's like, I guess. It's like you said, I guess I just don't see a world where the kid doesn't look back and be like, damn, even if it's a good decision, I'm glad this was a good decision, because thinking about how my mind worked from when I was 16 or whatever compared to now, I lucked out that was a good decision for me. So even in that case, it's just like, you really gambled with my life. And I have a cousin that went to college, I started identifying as a trans woman or whatever. And when she left college, she became a he. You see how confusing that was. Obviously, no hate in my heart towards my cousin. It's just, my point is, if you let the decision of somebody when they're younger be permanent, that's when it's just like, they're really just not at that age where it's like, yeah, I know I want it. You said you wanted it. It's like, yeah, but come on. It's like, I know I said I wanted it, but I was like, what my daughter also says she wants a yes day, and she wants to go ride a horse. I'm just making shit up. I'm saying, like, my daughter says she wants things that happen to be crazy as fuck. Where it's just like, why? How would we do that? Well, like, how would you do that? How would you be able to? I'm trying to think of some fucking example. Where it's like, let's just say, like, oh, I just want to ride a unicorn until I wake up. She didn't say that. She knows that unicorns aren't real. So I guess she's a little bit more of a realist than that. But she is 6 years old, and she has wants and desires that don't really match reality. And I told you about the scorecard when it comes to reality. Reality wins. So it's almost our job, I guess. That's why I would side-eye a parent that's just like, yeah, they want it. I would support it, because I've thought long and hard about this. Like, how would I react? What would I do? So, because I know for damn sure I wouldn't be one of those, oh, not in my house. Here's the Bible, I'll tell you that much. Like, what? No, live and let live. I love this theme. I love this theme, the power of love, right? I think I would accept it for one. But you're not getting on anything that changes anything. That's just me. You're not changing your biology. You're definitely not doing any surgeries. That's crazy. I think we're going to look back at that as something barbaric that we did in more modern times. But to just deny it, you can't do that either. So yeah, I say indulge it, like any potentially just like a fad or whatever they're called, like a phase. It's like you got the kid that's like a gothic emo out of nowhere and starts listening to screamo and listening or wearing all black and you know what I mean, black fingernails, the whole 9 yards. And then a couple years later they have rainbows and you know peace and love and all of that shit. It's like kids go through phases, even as teenagers, even as young adults. Especially as a man, let's be real, most of these conversations for some reason tend to lean towards more the trans women. So there's already, talking about science and shit like that, there's already been studies that say that our brains aren't fully developed until we're like 24. So, and I, for one, as a male, as a man, can attest to that's true. I feel a difference. And that's not like, it's like, oh, like, I'm out of the matrix now. Some shit like that. No. I'm just saying, like, yeah, the same way you can look back at a younger version of you and say, damn, I was stupid. It's kind of a hit on the ego, but I could look at 21, 22, 23, 24-year-old me and be like, damn. And it's not like I'm some old man, 31. So it hasn't even been 10 years since my brain fully developed, but I could still look back and be like, yeah, that I didn't think the same. In fact, even just these past couple years, I can feel myself thinking differently. In a positive way. And this is growth. So putting all of that on a kid, yeah, I think it's almost on you as a parent to say, I believe you. This is how you feel. Let's wait it out with everything that's permanent that we can't go back from. And if you still feel that way when you're grown, hey, I won't be able to out-support you regardless. But that way I won't feel like I'm doing you a disservice, possibly. Oh, but I know this is what I want. Awesome. And then you could just bring up something else that they knew that they wanted. Every kid does it. Every parent has a story. Remember when you wanted this? Yeah, and then what happened? Well, I started the sport, and then I stopped doing the sport. I just didn't like it that much. Or I got the dog, and then I didn't want to walk the dog, or I just never fed the dog. You know what I mean? It's like you have these desires, and then when the responsibility comes, it's a little different. So let's just hear a little bit more about what she has to say.
I do want to be clear, though, this decision is confined to sports. It does not enable discrimination against transgender people more broadly. The court was very clear that it was upholding the ban in West Virginia and in Idaho exclusively because of the state's alleged concerns about safety and competitive fairness in athletics specifically. So the case says nothing about discrimination against transgender people in other aspects of public life.
And Camilla, I want to ask you about what people consider to be fairness. Idaho is among states with a ban on.
Okay, I don't care. So I mean, all you said was, yeah, this isn't going against trans people in any other way. This is just about trying to keep the young women safe, the women athletes safe. Maybe a new league, but we can't do a whole new trans league. You know why? Because there's not enough trans athletes. So it's like, I think honestly it would even be a better story for a trans woman to go compete in the male division or whatever and dominate and say, yeah, bitch. And I honestly don't want to listen to her anymore. She ends up making a case that basically because Becky gets the puberty blockers before going through puberty, another side eye to these parents. Live and let live. It's your child. Again, between you and the state, I choose what you chose. I'm just saying, like, that just, I couldn't imagine as somebody with kids. But that's her argument, saying that, hey, she got these puberty blockers before going through puberty. What advantage? What are you even talking about? And that's that's insane. I just genuinely don't know what to say. I needed to know it was real. So now, you know, I saw it and I feel well informed. So I'm for one happy that states get to at least decide. I think that as more and more states do this, it's already more than half. 27 have already tried. I think other states are gonna be like, yeah, me too. You're gonna have the Californias and the New Yorks that are like, nah, bro. But I think we're finally gonna stop all of this madness.